And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livingin black.com. My name is Keedy Awado, aka the Conscious Roster, weekday mornings, or Sunday mornings, I should say. You and I get together with our family, our think tank we call the Mastermind here on LIB Radio, LIB TV. We deal with all aspects of human interactivity and development, Pan African perspective. Today's date is Sunday, November the 2nd, the year 2025 in the Gregorian calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetian calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. And let me say greetings and welcome into the conversation today. Your brother, our brother, we have Brother Dwara in the house. Aquaba, how are you today, Brother Dwara?
Oh, my dear and beloved Baba, I am black and I am shining and I am ready to go. Ubuntu Ma'at to the global LIB radio family.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're expecting Baba Junius should be with us any minute. I don't recall hearing from him that he would not be here. I'm just trying to remember. But if he is, that's always great to have Baba Junius in the house. And if he's not, I'm sure that you, once again, will step up to the task at hand and fill Baba's big, broad, wide shoes.
Indeed. Indeed, Baba. I appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Anything come up on your radar that you do want to talk about today? Because I know I have a pretty packed schedule, man, or pretty packed list of topics today as well.
Yes, no, absolutely. I pulled together some stuff kind of last minute. Been a pretty busy week, productive, but busy. There's some interesting things going on, and I guess I'll just start us off with this first one, which is Florida. This is from the Defender at the Children's Health Defense. Florida governor slams proposal to engineer meat allergies in humans to quote unquote save the planet. Now, this is a very interesting topic. Apparently, back in 2016, Matthew Leo, who is a professor of bioethics at New York University, he, through the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum, proposed engineering humans using the Lone Star tick, which apparently when bites you makes you allergic to meat. He proposed using that to basically genetically modify humans such that they would stop eating red meat. Now, on the surface, you and I are vegan, long-time vegan. We may not see anything wrong with cutting down the consumption of meat on a voluntary basis, right?
Yes, right.
On a consensual voluntary basis.
Mm-hmm.
But engineering people using something like a tick to force people and not knowing the repercussions from that is very, very oppressive, very draconian, very dystopian. But interestingly, the further down I went in this article, right in the end, it gives us a little bit more information. And it talks about this same doctor wanting to engineer humans through the World Economic Forum. And he's also suggesting a pharmacological induction of empathy, which involves taking a pill, giving children a pill to induce empathy, and then that having cognitive enhancements so that humans have fewer children.
Wow.
And then also going on to
That's crazy.
wanting to induce memory modification So what? We don't remember anything about our history. We don't
Mm.
remember anything about our culture. And then finally, administering, also advocating the administering of hormones to children so that they remain smaller in size because, quote, being smaller is more environmentally friendly. This is the type of demonic, evil, sinister, insane domination and control that these devils are trying to wage against the human population. This is what we're up against, and I'm very passionate about making sure our people are very clear about these things that are being tested and proposed.
Hmm. The first one that you talked about engineering humans to be intolerant of red meat, what was the source of that resource?
So this article is from the Defender. I can push that up. But it was a 2016 video from the World Health Organization of Dr. Matthew Leao, who is a professor of bioethics at New York University and the director of its Center for Bioethics. I'll push
Okay.
that article up for you.
Okay, I do want to see that
Sure.
because we revealed the existence of a protein. It's not been bioengineered.
Hmm.
And I want you to look this up. I want you to understand this protein,
Sure. And
NEU5GC.
five.
And
Yes, I
just
remember
as
you mentioning this
yeah,
5GC.
yeah. Now,
Okay.
humans are already intolerant of red meat. When this research came out in December 2014 at the University of San Diego, it
Hmm.
was said that humans cannot, unlike other meat eating animals, humans cannot process NEU5GC.
Right.
And they had bioengineered lab rats that were to mimic humans' intolerance of NEU5GC. And the presence of NEU5GC in all red meat, pork, beef, grass fed beef, or organic beef,
Hmm.
lamb, bison, and all other red meat specifically, the presence of this molecule caused a 500% increase in inflammation in humans.
Right.
Now, does that sound familiar to what you just read that this would be quote unquote bioengineered in?
Absolutely. Using the Lone Star tick, or the Lone Star tick. Absolutely.
Now, using the Lone Star tick as a vector
Hmm.
to me sounds like the article is nonsense
Mm.
because using a vector like the Lone Star tick, you're not going to be able to get everybody to be bitten by the Lone Star tick, but it's in the
Right.
human genomic makeup.
Exactly. I think no, I agree with you. I think he was talking about engineering it in such a way that it could either be developed into some sort of a vaccine, go figure, or I'm just scanning the article here, or some other type of kind of centralized delivery method, however draconian as it may be, to get people to be infected with this aspect of the Lone Star tick.
Now that was the
So
Children's Health Defense Network. Am I correct?
yes, children'shealthdefense.org. Their news letter, so to speak, is called The Defender. You can find that on their front page.
Yeah, I I am highly skeptical that this article is either accurate or is relevant or at all. Now, the
Sure.
article did say, and I did hear I did hear you say, you read it. You
Hmm.
said Florida Governor Ron DeSantis
Hmm.
criticized a bioethicist video. That to me already is like one, two big flags in this that says this could be a this a big bunch of nothing, a bunch of already existing stuff.
Mm.
I'm really skeptical. I'm not skeptical of you. Obviously,
Okay,
you do
for sure.
your research
Hmm. There's
and
another
your research.
direction I want to take this in as well.
Oh, please do respond because I'm kind of stuck in a loop because I just don't believe this
Sure,
headline.
sure. No, no, and I welcome the challenge because iron sharpens iron. We got to keep each other sharp.
That's
Um,
right.
there is a book that has recently come to my attention called "Bitten: The Secret History of Lyme Disease and
Mm-hmm.
Biological Weapons."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this book purports to document evidence that ticks were genetically modified in such a way where they were being weaponized to be used in warfare, in battle, but the experimentation was actually on American citizens, according to this very well researched book. And so I guess the connection I'm trying to make here is that I'm wanting to do a deeper dive on ticks
Mm-hmm.
specifically being used in genetic modification and being weaponized to affect the naturality of human beings.
Well, I would encourage you to do that research. Um,
Gotcha.
it is viable. It's plausible. We do know there was a range of experiments, very nasty experiments done at least since the early 1950s. There was the experiments with Aspergillus fumigatus that took
Mm,
place on naval dock workers in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania in the early 50s, I think around 1952. Later, they used, I think, the same bacillus or to do open air bacterial warfare
right.
in San Francisco. They sprayed it across. There were radiation experiments at
Hmm.
numerous prisons across the country,
Hmm.
Ohio, Detroit, California,
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Pennsylvania. So I would definitely encourage you to do that research and to be as comprehensive as your abilities can be, and put that out here because our people need to know these things.
I'll say absolutely. I pushed up the original Children's Health Defense article, and as well as the book "Bitten: The Secret History of Lyme Disease and Biological Weapons."
Okay, I will definitely look at. Now, do you have the book Bitten?
I have just ordered it. It has not come in yet, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations on that. Again, I do not discourage you and I learning about this, but had you had heard about NEU 5GC, this
Yes.
sugar-like molecule found in red meat. Now I'll put up a link on that. I'll see if I can find the original link from December 2014 when I learned about it. We started talking about it immediately here on LIB Radio because it
Hmm.
was also linked to a corresponding increase in the risk of cancer. And in the original article, it said this may be the first clue that scientists had really discovered research that linked the consumption of red meat specifically to colorectal and stomach cancers.
Interesting. Well, to my knowledge, I first learned of the term last week when you had mentioned it, as well as mentioning carbodox that I had not heard of before, and I did listen to your program on that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. What did you think about that program? Carbodox. I was unaware of it. Of course, the U.S. government allows a lot of toxic substances, cancer causing substances, in the U.S. food supply that have been banned in other countries.
Absolutely. No, I thought it was extremely informative. I had not heard of it either. And then I did a little bit more research. I haven't been able to read the whole article, but I have another Children's Health Defense article that basically exposes carbodox. It says cancer causing drug banned in most countries, still allowed in U.S. pork. And I have been sharing that with as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Thankfully, most people I don't. Thankfully, most people I know do not consume pork as it is, but I'm using that as kind of a step to then introduce now uh, NEU 5GC, which will be my next push, so that I can slowly kind of let the meat eaters, the very few meat eaters I have in my circle, to understand the poisonous, carcinogenic, and inflammatory causing aspects of these things.
Yeah, it's it's shocking that people still do these things. People still smoke cigarettes. People
Yeah.
do all kind of things that are detrimental, very grossly detrimental to their health. To you and I, it may not seem complicated that we would do the research, confirm the research, and then say, "I'm never going to do that again." But many people, as you know, struggle against those same decisions that seem so obvious to you and I.
It is very it might be one of our greatest challenges, and I say that simply because Kamal Kamban, ancestor Kamal Kamban, once said that we cannot have sick warriors. We need healthy warriors. And so, as we both know, the old adages go, health is our greatest wealth. The other one being that if you don't have health, you don't have anything. You can have all the money in the world. If you don't have health, you're not going to be productive. You're not going to be able to make a change in your own life, in your family's life, in anyone's life. And so health is, in my personal opinion, the utmost important aspect of the human experience. And we need to optimize that in such a way that we are eating clean, we are exercising regularly, we are having high quality sleep, we are eating optimal nutrition, i.e., living superfoods, and hydrating regularly. And then there are spiritual aspects to health and wellness too. No human is somehow guarded against isolation. So community, the sense of being loved and loving and being loved, those are of utmost importance when it comes to holistic health and wellness as well. And then spirituality, having a sense of something greater than you, or at the very least, feeling an Ubuntuan interconnection between you and other living things, or even non-living things for that matter, because in our ancestral spiritual systems, we understand that even a rock is alive. Just because it doesn't move doesn't mean that it is an inanimate object.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to do the best we can to do the best we can. I did find that original article and I did post it up. I have it up for the Rumble family. I'm going to put it up for the YouTube family here as well. And I put it on my Facebook page. But here's one
Mm.
second here. Let me just read from the Rumble chat. Say greetings to each and every one of our members of our audience. We have, bear with me, it's a little crazy in my on my desktop right now, and I'm getting okay. Today we have in a live chat Queen Mother Kashiba checking in. Hotep family, lots of news today. She sure is right. She
Hmm.
is absolutely right. For Africa One Rights Hotep Mastermind Panel and Global LIB family, welcome to you, beloved. Dwayne is in the house. Greetings, fellow warriors. What's all that's going on? Do we still think we can win? Yes, these people are very demonic, but our people see them as saviors. And Dwayne makes a good point right there. Ultimately, insofar as can we see ourselves as winning, we're going to be the turtle in this race.
Hmm.
We're going to have to take a long, slow, steady track. It will take the better part of the entire century to get out of this deep morass that we are in.
Hmm.
And if we understand the demographics, and you have you heard recently, demographics is becoming almost like a daily topic that you're hearing on the news.
Absolutely, absolutely. I
The
have an
birth
article.
dearth.
Yep. Hmm.
You have an article.
Yeah, I have an article, collapsing sperm count signal a deeper men's health crisis.
Man, that is serious. And I know they mentioned um, what's her name, the 1963 book on the topic Silent Spring. I can't remember her name right now. And then another one, The Stolen Future, really was the first one to point out the sperm count collapse.
Right.
And it has collapsed. I'll be honest with you. I
Hmm.
take this very, very seriously, and I'm
Yeah.
counting mine every day.
Mm, well,
It's rather
I
tedious, but because there's supposed to be about 50 million of them, but I'm
million.
counting mine every day.
Yeah, it takes a little while, but you get it done. You get it done. Well, I'm right there with you, Baba. I know you have written extensively about it, especially in Big Up Manhood and helping our warrior brothers be able to increase their sperm count and the
Mm-hmm.
mobility of the sperm as well. And raw pumpkin seeds is very, very good
Mm-hmm.
for men's health. And so I do
That's right.
consume about 20 to 30 of those every single morning. And I chew those up, masticate those really, really well, make sure that that is being fully digested in my system. And then exercise is another one um,
Mm-hmm.
that I know you have mentioned. And then nutrition, as well as staying away from these plastics, because they have found microplastics, as you know, Baba, in
Mm-hmm.
every set of
Human system,
testicles.
every system.
Yep, testicles and ovaries, especially.
Mm-hmm.
They are finding those, and I even have even a more draconian article. I've got to pull it up in the background, but one doctor said that because of microplastics in both the ovaries and the testes, that human infertility in the future might become inevitable.
In complete fertility collapse. You saw the 1989 film, I'm trusting you saw it, called The Handmaid's Tale. Later, they made a TV series out of it for Netflix, but the TV series was, to me, it was not even the same. It was
Right.
a different vibe. It did include some of the same elements, but it was went off deep into feminism. And to
Exactly.
me, it was a big distortion away from the collapse of human fertility in the Western countries.
Yes, I did see that, as well as The Children of Men, which came out, I
That's right.
believe,
That's right.
in 2001 or 2003, something like that.
Now, did you notice that in that original Handmaid's Tale, the country started looking a lot like it's looking right now under the second regime of the Orange Man?
To be honest with you, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I'll have to
Hmm.
revisit it. But
Yeah, I know. I saw that movie at least a half a dozen times.
yeah, I can't wait to watch that again. I'm gonna do a deep dive on that one. Thank you, Bob.
1989, The Handmaid's Tale, starring Robert Duvall and what was her name? Was it Shelley something? I can't remember her name. Very, very prominent actress at the time. I'll think of her name in a second. Here, I'll look it up in the background. But a couple more comments from our listener audience.
Mhm.
Queen Mother Kashiba. People in Mongolia do not farm much and eat lots of meat. Should we start with them? The Mongolians will have to be attentive to their own impact. Now, it could be that they have adapted, but I don't know that the Mongolians have any sense of longevity or
Yeah,
that we should be attempting to replicate.
right.
The best instances of longevity that I can see, I have a list of longevity researchers, prominent longevity researchers. I just pulled it up yesterday or so while I'm writing on a new report. And it did not, I did not identify any Mongolians directly in it. I do see a lot of research on the clinical nutrition these days coming from the Chinese. I cannot distinguish Chinese names from Mongolian names. China is very concerned about longevity and they're very concerned about fertility collapse in China as well. But I will say this much: as far as I am aware, Chinese people eat anything. They say if its back points towards the sun, they'll eat it. And I think that's kind of true. So
That
I'm not necessarily going to base my strategies for longevity and preservation of what I've got, conservatism of my sperm count. I'm not necessarily going to base that on Mongolians or Chinese.
Well, the only thing I will point out is that, and this may have changed because this study is perhaps a little bit older now, but the China study with
Mm-hmm.
what's
T. Colin Campbell's study.
T. Colin Campbell. Thank you very much. Exactly, and that did show that rural Chinese, especially, which may be different from urban Chinese, who probably do eat anything. But
Mm-hmm.
rural Chinese do have a very almost strictly plant-based diet, and they're consuming a lot of nutritious food. But we can
Mm-hmm.
just go to blue zones and see what populations and what their diet and lifestyle is, which you
Mm-hmm.
did a phenomenal program on recently. I urge all our listeners to check out that program you did in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've revisited the blue zones research numerous times over the years. It's just so practical and so useful,
Mhm.
especially if one is particularly interested, as I am, in anti-aging strategies.
I
So
say,
we're going to do the best we can. Dwayne is in the house now. We have robots in home. I always stated white peoples planned how they want this world to be through their science fiction movies. And yeah, you're making a good point, Dwayne. Not only robots in the home are now starting to make their presence, and actually they've been present there, vacuuming your carpet and other things like that, mowing now your lawn now. And now you're seeing increasing robots in the bedroom.
yes, yes. There was a an article I saw recently about a what they call an intimate chatbot, and
Mm-hmm.
an intimate chatbot is essentially something that you can have a relationship with. This researcher went on, claimed that she was a 15-year-old girl to the chatbot, and the chatbot proceeded to unethically, unmorally, obviously, have very hypersexual conversations with a child, essentially, even though
Mm-hmm.
the woman was not 15 years old. Um, and the ethics behind that is very interesting. And we know that there was a movie called Her, which was about the romantic entanglement between a man and some sort of a chatbot AI entity, and
Yeah.
that's what they want. That's part of the depopulation campaign, is to not have anyone cohabitating in real life, forming no real human bonds or attachments.
Yeah. The appearance of silicone bots in the bedroom is a new development. It
Oh
is what it
goodness,
is. um,
yeah.
Here, 1 second, I just have to paste this link up to this article that I shared earlier, and I have to
Come on.
paste it up for our YouTube family.
Mhm.
A couple more comments. Queen Mother writes, I was kidding about starting with the Mongolians, but they are really large meat eaters. We need to discuss more important things now. Nigeria is being threatened. That's more important than ticks. And last comment I put in my own self. And Rachel Carson wrote Silent Spring. Thank you, thank you, thank you for remembering Rachel Carson's name. And Dwayne finally says it's called Neo Robots. And there are a number of things there. Neo robots, I've heard that term. I don't know what it necessarily means, because robots are becoming ubiquitous.
Mm.
And that goes into the subject of AI intelligence replacing so many vital functions. I have been teaching a course on Thursdays on mastering AI, and we're doing this coming Thursday. Last Thursday, we did part one of a series of using AI to create our own videos. Today, we're going into part two of it. because I'm getting really, really close to deploying video shorts using AI. I've created avatars for myself. You may have seen them, etc. But we're getting really close. And for Africa One, she says, you skipped my comment. Let me see if I can find for Africa One in the list. Where are you? Oh, here's her question. Thank you for reminding me. Are we entering a new dark age of fear and superstition? It's going around that Hurricane Melissa is man made. One of my sources tells me it's in its appropriate oil, it's to appropriate oil and gold reserves found in Jamaica. And that's a good question. Hurricane Melissa, we didn't get a chance to talk about this week, but was a devastating hurricane, the worst ever to hit Jamaica. And they said something similar to that about 10 years ago when a massive hurricane tore up Haiti, that there was really man-made and they were after oil and gold in Haiti. So I think they said the exact same thing then. Did it turn out to be true then, or can we tell? Do we know?
No, to my knowledge, we don't know. I mean, I think we need to remain critical thinkers and skeptical, even circumspect. But we live in interesting times, as such that this is where Professor Menu Ampim says that documentation beats conversation. And see, some of the conspiracies can be so outlandish and buck wild that we end up getting trapped in giving all the power back to the quote unquote white man. And I'm leery of that, as I know you are as well.
That's
And
right.
so,
And Queen Mother as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we need to do our best to research these things and also be comfortable with the reality that we just may never know. But I'd say also, if we had never heard of such a thing as a hurricane and these things were brand new, I mean, here's the reality is that hurricanes happen. And I view climate change the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The earth heats up and then the earth cools down, and then it heats up and then it cools down. These are cyclical processes. And so I think the more we are in tune with kind of the Tehutian natural laws of the universe, we will have I think our time is better spent understanding that than making accusations that are either disprovable or not. And then I have to also go back, lastly, to something Amos Wilson said. Okay, all these conspiracies are true. What are you going to do about it?
That's right. That's right. And I think for Africa One's comment reflects that Amos Wilson position, is that
Absolutely.
we get excited about all this dark stuff of fear that generates fear and superstition. If it is the consequence of HARP or DARPA or anything else, there's nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is reinforce where you and I can take individual responsibility for what impacts our bodies, our minds, and collectively, we got to do a much better of defending our culture. And so that's a really good question. Thank you for reminding me to address that comment, that question for Africa One. Very important. I want to say greetings to everyone in listening to us today on YouTube. We have Four Corners. Is everything real? And see, Four Corners says peace. Greetings to the Universal family, and greetings to you as well. Eddie is in the house. He says, greetings, LIB Radio family. Four Corners, Kitty, are you working on manifesting that image in the background, big brother? Oh, yeah. Can you see the background behind me today there, Brother Dwara?
Absolutely. It's looking beautiful.
That's the Coochie Chagalia village. The thing is, it's not stopped. We have a number of artistic renderings, including what these individual houses look like on the inside. It has not stopped, but it has gotten to the point where it's much too expensive for me to handle it alone. So Four Corners, I bet you would love to live in that village. The village is simplistic and it's very high tech as well. Simplistic in that we use natural materials for everything. High tech is that we have to compete against the world. We have to compete against South Korea, Japan, China, US, and everybody else around the world. So in order to compete, we've got to make sure that our technology is appropriate for our sustained development. But yes, that is the Kujichagulia villages. That is the Ghana village is expected to be the first one manifest. And I don't play the lottery. But if I had a lot of money to invest in something right now, this village is going to take $2 million to get it going.
Mm.
$2 million. Now, we don't have to raise $2 million all at one point. We can start by raising about $15,000, $16,000 and get me on the ground over to where this land actually does exist. In the Kosovo region, this land exists, but we need to get over there and get a lease on the land, and we need to get started to get these elements into place and get to building the first model of what our Kujichagulia villages would be. So I'm not ever going to give up. In fact, Brother Dwara, I promise you, I'm going to stay young and get this village done in my lifetime. I'm not going to age. I'm going to stay young, and that's why I constantly working every day. You'll hear us at least 2 to 3 days at the beginning of the week. We are dealing with anti-aging strategies. I'm not going to age. Look at me. I'm younger than I was yesterday.
It's working. It's working, Baba. That's for sure. I'm taking notes.
Awesome. And I know you're staying young as well. And
Absolutely.
you and I, one day, and Baba Junius, will be broadcasting from the Kujichagulia village.
I'll say I wake up thinking about it every single morning, and
Ashe.
it will happen. Absolutely.
That's right.
And it looks
And you were saying?
I'm sorry. It looks like Four Corners is actually he works in, or he or she, I'm not sure, works in earth home construction. So that's very interesting.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, he says, I work in earth home construction. That's why I asked. That's beautiful. Let's talk. I want you to text me. I'm going to show you. I'll put up my text number. And she said, that's not a lot. $2 million is $2 million. Africans in America spend mostly on non-strategic consumption. Is not wasted. We don't really waste money, not like the others do. They have the money to waste. They print the money. They put their picture on it. Our conspicuous consumption is up to $2 trillion a year now. That's a lot of money. So we can do what we want to do. There are a couple more people I want to say greetings to. Sandra Muhammad, we see you in the house. Welcome to you today. Sandra Muhammad, listening in and learning. Thank you so much. We do have, yes, I work in earth home construction. That's what those houses are. Those are earth homes, rammed earth specifically. And he said, that's not a lot. And Ashe, Saeed, Azhara Sultan is in the house saying greetings and greetings. And long life, long health to you, Kitty, the other brother, and myself. So, Brother Dwara, you, Four Corners, and I are wonderfully welcomed on the YouTube panel, along with everybody else there. We're finally seeing the YouTube is starting to expand again. You know, I still haven't yet backed Alphabet company, Google, up against the wall and saying, I demand you reinstate our LIB radio listening audience. We had 5,000 listeners, subscribers, and over 2,000 videos up there. We were monetized, and they defunded me for what they have since backed off and they have reinstated a number of those that they canceled because of that. So I actually should be targeted for that. But I don't expect YouTube to come to me and say, hey, sorry, my bad. We made a mistake. We're going to
Right.
reinstate you and give you back all the money you missed out on and give you back your 5,000 subscribers. So I'm going to have to make a demand on them. Maybe someone out there is a lawyer and the Four Corners said, I'm a man, the original man, and you are a man. We appreciate like that. So
Gosh.
let's go forward. I've got a lot of stuff up on the table. Did you want to say anything? Because I've been ranting for a few minutes here.
No, you're good, Baba. Let's keep it rolling. This is great.
I'm going to put up on the video, I'm going to add to the stage right now. You should be able to see this piece
Hmm.
of video. This piece of video is the U.S. Marine Corps and Navy this week constructed amphibious exercises in Puerto Rico, some 800 miles from the coast of Venezuela. Do you mind if we play this video? Just going to take just a couple of minutes here.
Not at all, Baba.
Here we
The
go.
U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy are currently conducting large-scale amphibious landing exercises in southern Puerto Rico involving the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit and the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group. These drills, which started recently, include ship-to-shore movements using landing crafts like LCACs, which stands for Landing Craft Air Cushion, which are like a large air cushion landing craft used by the military to transport weapons, systems, equipment, cargo, and personnel from ship to shore. And they're also conducting reconnaissance operations, patrolling, and survival training. All of this has been coordinated with the local Puerto Rican authorities to enhance regional security and also interoperability. Apparently, there's more than 4,500 Marines and sailors participating in the exercises, supported by at least 8 warships operating in the Caribbean Sea. Now, these exercises are taking place amid some escalating tensions between the United States and Venezuela, particularly following the disputed Venezuelan elections and increased U.S. military presence aimed at counter-narcotics efforts targeting Venezuelan-linked drug trafficking cartels. Now, part of the expanding operation was that recent U.S. action striking a Venezuelan drug boat and deploying 10 F-35 stealth fighters to Puerto Rico. Now, in response to this, Venezuela's conducted their own defense exercises to prepare for potential aggression. Now, Venezuela is only about 800 kilometers away from Puerto Rico, which has been causing a lot of people to speculate on the strategic messaging that's involved with conducting these operations. Meanwhile, the training was described as realistic and aimed at maintaining readiness in a volatile area. So the
All right. Let me correct one thing I said. It was 800 miles from Puerto Rico. 800 kilometers would be more correct. Based upon that video, I'd love to have your opinion, Brother Dwyer.
Sure. So I think what comes to mind is how much of this is saber rattling. The other day I saw that the Silvery Tangerine said that he was definitely going to strike inland on Venezuela. And then in kind of a classic flip-flop and about face, I then saw an updated article that said that the Silvery Tangerine said that he would not be considering striking Venezuela. So
Well, what does that mean? Does that mean he was leaking classified information that he would do?
yeah, perhaps. That's why I think how much of this is saber rattling, how much of this is kind of military posturing and positioning. And then for me, it goes back to the very high quality crude oil that Venezuela has, as well as their many precious minerals and metals that are supposedly within the Venezuelan landscape.
Now, from my understanding, the Venezuelan crude oil has a high sulfur content, which
Very
would
true.
make it not necessarily high quality, but they got a lot of it.
They got a
They got a lot. It's said
And
they may have more than Saudi Arabia. You were saying?
yes, so I'm so from my kind of very limited understanding, uh, from my very limited understanding, the U.S. is positioning itself in such a way that it is defending against China and Russia from acquiring that crude oil, because China now does have the capacity to refine that high sulfur content crude oil that Venezuela possesses. And so, again, geopolitical, strategic warfare. I've often talked about that former African American CIA agent that admitted that the CIA would never not be in Congo because of this race, or this competition of trying to acquire the precious minerals and metals that Congo has, and it just is a kind of a triangulated race to acquire that for both space exploration technologies, as well as aviation technologies, and obviously military technologies. And so, is this just the U.S. trying to take over Venezuela, protecting those natural resources for itself, instead of allowing a deal to be brokered between the Maduro government and, say, China?
Mm. Yeah, it's complicated. Man, this is getting complicated. We're going to do the best we can to keep our people well informed. Um, the comment from Dwayne: Black people too worried about SNAP. That's a Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. I can definitely see his point, yet at the same time, I see the opposite point. At this point in our story inside the United States, it was said it would take 228 years for black people's intergenerational wealth to catch up with white people's. So if we took 228 years or even 28 years of SNAP out of income for our black families, it would take much, much longer to reach that. We pay the taxes, the laws support SNAP for those of us who need to be assisted in nutrition, but at the same time, the billionaires are skimming so much off of the top. We're in such a deep dilemma, Brother Dwara.
Mm-hmm.
It never ends. They've got us tied up layer after layer after layer. It reminds me of our critical need to study game theory.
Let me lay down a little game theory. Now, this is going to be simplistic, so please feel free to correct me. Please feel free to interject. How's this for game theory? Increased incarceration of black men, the creation of the welfare state, which left many African American mothers without fathers due to the increased incarceration, and then the dependency on the U.S. government, Uncle Sam, as it were, and then SNAP. You mentioned nutrition. I would respectfully use another word. I would say that SNAP encourages malnutrition, because the amount of over and ultra processed foods that are acquired and that are promoted through the SNAP program is far from nutritious, in my personal opinion. So then that affects the children. So we have the man, the woman, and we have the black man, the black woman, and the black child all being kind of systematically affected through the opposite of self-reliance, self-sufficiency, and self-determination.
You're right. You're absolutely right. If SNAP supported supplemental nutrition assistance, they would essentially kind of go at war against the food processing companies and the FDA, which the FDA distributes SNAP on one hand, but the FDA, we did a program this week called Does the FDA Deliberately Allow Toxic Chemicals in the U.S. Food Supply? So we have the same FDA poisoning us all, and at the same time, they're giving us the free food stamps to go buy the poison. if you ever go to the grocery store around the third day or fourth day of the month, when the
Mhm.
supplemental nutrition tickets have gone out,
Mhm.
you see these people in front of you with a huge basket, up to
Yes.
$200 to $300 worth of food.
Yes.
Do you ever look at see what's in their basket?
Oh, I do. I do. I see a huge, big box store shopping cart filled with Cheetos, Fritos, Doritos, hot fries, Chef Lee's ketchup flavored chips, uh,
And some
beef,
soda to wash it all down.
and some. It's sad. I don't mean to laugh. It's sad, and a whole bunch of nitrate laden beef jerky sticks and just
Processed meats and all of
process.
it's horrifying. While you and I, with on our best day, empathize, sympathize with the people who must have their SNAP assistance, otherwise they're going to go hungry. From my perspective, a whole bunch of them need to go hungry for at least 3 days in a row.
Absolutely, and if not more. And we know about food deserts. That's also a primary cause. It's very easy to go and walk. I mean, I've had to do this myself back in the day, to just walk to the bodega or walk to the corner store, which is less than a block away, and there's nothing nutritious in there. There's no fresh fruit. There's no fresh vegetables, and if there are fresh fruits and vegetables, they're probably not so fresh, and they're laden with all kinds of chemicals and preservatives and pesticides. The other aspect of a food desert, though, the lack of nutritional food, is what I think our dear brother Chike Akua calls food swamps. And
Mm.
those are the opposite of a food desert. It's the ultra availability of nothing but ultra processed poison, toxic foods.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, serious business. There's another comment from Queen Mother, and she mentioned something that I had actually researched today. I was going to put it up on the desk. She writes, those same exercises could be used against Nigeria. I sent a video to you. Trump wants to possibly invade to save Christians. And that is the headline. It was up at allafrica.com. I think I have it up on my desk. And I do have it up on my desk. And it was entitled Nigeria. Here, one second. The entitled, I don't see it. Nigeria. Trump lists Nigeria as country of particular concern over alleged genocide against Christians. But wait a minute. I thought Trump was concerned about genocide against white people in South Africa. Of course, that has been debunked.
Mm. Hmm.
So, the genocide, does Trump care about Christians in Nigeria when those Christians are predominantly black? I would say yes and no. He's concerned about them more as missionaries promoting Western isms, doctrines, Western doctrines. And I would say Christianity is a Western doctrine as the missionaries are pushing it. I apologize if any of our listeners are Christians and might be offended, but the research says that Christians in Africa are selling cultural isms, doctrines that are foreign to Africa's indigenous doctrines. You could probably comment a little more directly than myself, but because I'm just kind of trying to hedge this so I don't offend my
Hmm.
listeners too much. But they're promoting a foreign doctrine. It doesn't even resemble the true Orthodox Christianity, which comes off of the African continent.
Absolutely. I would recommend two books to our listeners. One is Target Africa. And the second one is actually a novel, but a very deep novel called The Poor Christ of Bamba.
That's right. And of course, we do have the very famous novel by Chinua Achebe,
Mm-hmm.
Things Fall Apart,
Things
and
fall
that the
apart.
essence of that was the insult against African cultural doctrines by these foreignisms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. We have a couple more comments. For Africa One writes, Kitty, your YouTube, your YouTube is still on your back. Whenever I mention your name on YouTube, the comment is deleted. No way. Oh, wow. A couple of people have mentioned my name today on YouTube. So, for Africa One could be that they're targeting you and I, and they don't want you and I collaborating on that network. I was unaware of what For Africa One is saying, but it's serious. Did you want to comment on that?
Mm. Sounds like an attempt at continued shadow banning.
Yeah, that is. Um, Queen Mother Kasiba writes, Trump cares about minerals.
Mm.
Also, Trump cares about the AES, the Alliance of Sahel States, which borders on Nigeria. And yeah, the Confederation of Sahel States is a big thorn in the eye of the Western powers, and it's Nigeria is on the border there. Nigeria, but the Alliance of Sahel States, or AES, is bigger than the Confederation of Sahel States. The Confederation has 3 countries in it, while the Alliance has a total of 5 countries, 3 of which are federated in the Confederation of Sahel States: Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. There's also in that area, there's Chad and Mauritania as well. So we should be paying attention. And Queen Mother Kashiba says, yeah, the 3 countries of Sahel is what we are focusing on. There's a lot of focus there. It brings me to mind that I have a couple of other things that relate to Africa. Did you want to comment on the Confederation or Alliance of Sahel States?
I actually just wanted to say, I'm wondering if Baba Junius got thrown off by the time change, and so now that it is now an hour into the broadcast, I'm wondering if he is popping up at all. But that was
Let
just
me
a
look and see. I'll know in a second. Baba Junius is, I'm not seeing him in the house, but hopefully he should be with us. I hate having these discussions and leaving him behind because
yeah,
he contributes
valuable
so
insights.
valuable, his contribution to the program. So I'll look out. If I see him pop up, we'll pull him right in and
Sure.
tell him to talk fast for the next hour.
Absolutely. Please continue, Bob. I'm sorry.
No problem. Here's what next story I want to talk about, and we have yet to really discuss the government shutdown.
Right.
We are in the second longest government shutdown in U.S. history. And when the next Senate vote to reopen the government unclear, the 2025 shutdown will become on Tuesday the longest ever government shutdown, breaking the record. We are today just shy of the longest shutdown that ended on January 25, 2019 under President Donald Trump after a full 34 days. I'm going to be covering this one this week. Probably, well, it'll be on Wednesday if Tuesday is the length of this. Problems we've already experienced, including over 1.4 million federal workers furloughed. Supplemental nutrition assistance program funding has run out. Thousands of air traffic controllers and airport security staff are essential but unpaid. Delays in processing permits, government loans, and approvals for small businesses. Economic activity, the GDP growth is declining for the fourth quarter of the U.S., making it worse the longer the shutdown lasts. Many federal contractors are still awaiting to be paid, including building that big, beautiful ballroom on the East Wing. Families are reporting difficulty affording basic needs like food and heat as we're approaching winter. And this raises risk of long-term economic harm. And there are other aspects. So we're going to go into detail on each of these aspects and even more economic and social impacts and ongoing concerns. We're going to do that probably on Wednesday. Your thoughts on the ongoing government shutdown?
I'm going to kind of take a bird's eye view on this and say that it is part and parcel, to use Baba Junius's term, of this greater kind of anarcho tyranny that is rearing its ugly head, in that at this point, I'm almost very quick to feel like everything can be chalked up to how much chaos can they create. And it reminds me of a quote that I heard, instead of being the one to stir the pot, instead be the one to close the lid. And so we see this pedantic, juvenile, back and forth, divide and conquer, Republicans versus Democrats, liberals versus, all of this is sowing maximum fear, anxiety, panic, chaos, discord amongst the U.S. population.
I say. A couple of other news items, some relevant, some less relevant. First, in partial irrelevance, Magic Johnson, co-owner of the Dodgers, said it was a special night for fans because no team had won back-to-back championships in 25 years. I didn't watch the final. I had intended to watch it, but I forgot it was on. Dodgers win the World Series 5-4 in 11 innings. They had an 18-inning game as part of that win as well. So they won it in 11 innings. So back-to-back championships. Congratulations to Magic Johnson, who just probably got a little bit richer.
Yeah, or a lot of bit.
That's right. Enough respect. I met Magic one day. My oldest daughter was quite young, and we met Magic Johnson. He was a very lovable, very likable individual, sure. I gotta say. And I became aware of Magic Johnson was so rich and so well known, he didn't even carry a wallet.
Wow.
He had no cash on him. The presumption is he did everything for free.
Wow. Well, I know he owns several movie theaters as well, or at least used to.
With the money Magic Johnson has, he could own a country.
Well, I just heard of someone buying an island. I forgot. I don't know the details off the top of my head. I just kind of saw that in passing. But that's a great question. Where's Magic Johnson at? We should be doing more conscious, righteous, sovereign things with those of us that have that type of discretionary income.
That's right. Even if it were just 10%. I mean, you're supposed to give 10% in tithing to the preacher.
That's true.
Who then will give 10% of what you gave him to the Lord.
Yep. And man, the Lord certainly does love BMWs and Mercedes Benz, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, after everybody gets their cut off the top, the Lord's piece is very small. Going to Africa, President Suluhu wins 90%. Is that Suluhu or Suhulu? I think it's Suluhu. Wins 98% of the vote in disputed Tanzanian election. Observers have expressed concern over lack of transparency and widespread violence that have caused hundreds of deaths and injuries. Several rights groups condemned government repression ahead of the election, including Amnesty International, which cited enforced disappearances. I don't believe half of what they say. Torture and extrajudicial killings. The government rejected the claim, saying the election would be free and fair. However, opposition groups say the election was not a contest, but a coronation after Hassan's two main rivals were barred or prevented from running. Suluhu Hassan has she gone into the despot. I personally have been following her activities over the last month or so, and to me, she does not inspire confidence at all. Not at all.
Mm, mm. You know, so many, not all. I want to be very clear. I'm not a nihilist. I'm not a pessimist. But just being a realist, there are a concern is that many continental African leaders are either being paid off or they are being forced by foreign intelligence agencies to kind of play ball, so to speak. We saw that with Ruto and his kind of abrupt change. We saw the blowback that John Pombe Magufuli, of former president of Tanzania, uh, due to his abstention and his really expose of kind of the fraud of COVID-19, especially on the continent, which was again relatively untouched in terms of effect from the pandemic.
Hmm. And here, one second, I have to just post this up for my listeners. This article, and Suluhu Hassan, and I do see in the YouTube a couple of comments. Four Corners writes, Orange head deals in attempting to master the art of confusion. The key is to be prepared in all moments on all fronts. And I completely agree. Be prepared in all moments on all fronts, especially the most important. We have to prioritize things. Sandra Muhammad is in the truth in the YouTube channel. So true. And you are correct. So many obese adults and children and say they are hungry. Wow. And then I just posted up the link there. Going back to the Rumble chat, it takes a lot of control. It takes if the U.S. takes control of Nigeria, they can invade the AES, that alliance of it states Saharan. That's what it stands for. So yeah, I do agree. And she writes, Dr. Ericana has escorted over 700 African Americans to Burkina Faso for a 2-week visit. Now, I have not seen that, but I haven't really been paying attention. I know there's been some beef going back and forth, and the sources of the beef cannot be trusted. And so I'll be honest with you, I stepped back. It was too confusing.
Mhm, mhm.
I
It's,
do know a lot of fake videos regarding
exactly.
Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore. You were about to say.
Exactly. Yes, Bob. I was just about to say, half of that information might not even be able to be trusted, like you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I stepped back and it's not that I don't care about Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore, but just realizing with all of those fake videos going on, I think we're being set up, and the people making these fake videos are more sophisticated, and they're part of a long-term strategic plan to maintain control over Africa's resources, natural resources, strategic resources, precious minerals, and rare earth items, et cetera, et cetera. So I had to step back, and I just had to let it go. Queen Mother Nigeria's president is a CIA asset also. I had not heard that. They will do the same thing to Nigeria as they did to Libya. That would definitely serve their best self-interest. Um, Game theory.
Game theory.
What do we do? If you're playing chess with somebody else, and you allow your opponent to make all the offensive moves, then the chances of you beating them becomes very, very slim. You may accidentally stumble into them making a wrong offensive move and then put them in check. That's not necessarily the worst theory. but it's not a good strategy for winning the game.
No, and then if enough of your pieces, if enough of the black pieces get taken off the board, that sounds a lot to me like depopulation.
Hmm. Yeah, that is true. Whew. And last point, Queen Mother Kasipa writes that beef was a mess.
Mm.
I know that Dr. Arikana's visit is true. So let's hope that more comes out of as many as 700 African Americans goes to Burkina Faso than 7,000 or more African Americans visiting Egypt every year.
Mm, 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 mm. And being spit upon, when we arrive.
Mm, that's not good. That's not good at all. I'm going to go back to my list of things here. And if you see Baba Junior show up, you let me know because I'm kind
Sure.
of all over my screen.
Absolutely.
Cameroonian opposition politician Issa Chiroma Bakari, who declared himself to be the winner of the October 12 presidential election, has reportedly left the country for neighboring Nigeria. So the opposition gone into exile. This comes as protests against the official results, which declared President Paul Biya the winner, intensified across the country. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, which UN in front of his name that delegitimizes his position, has condemned the violent crackdown on the post-election protests. We call on security forces to refrain from the use of lethal force and on the protesters to demonstrate peacefully. The authorities must fully abide by their obligations. More than 20 people have been killed in clashes, and that's from allafrica.com. I'll put up a link to that. Cameroon, another French speaking African government in turmoil. Is there anything to the fact that Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, and these other French speaking countries are part of this larger, massive destabilization of Africa?
Oh, absolutely. So much of the French economy is tied up in Africa that if control or dominance is not maintained by the French, it may completely destabilize them economically. And so obviously there's going to be that continued colonial push. France is one of the last countries that just has dug its claws so deep into the continent that it just refuses to let go. Not that there isn't other neo-colonialistic things going on with other countries, but France is really been unwilling to let go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, just when it seemed the Africa Rising narrative was getting so strong that I was really feeling encouraged to feed as much energy as I could, as we could, into Africa Rising, the notion of Africa Rising. It seems like Yurugu said, yeah, I understand why you're digging in and you're trying to protect this thing, but I'm going to come at you harder than ever. The incomplete being has made your and my job much more difficult, not only making our jobs more difficult of keeping positive propaganda, positive ideas about Africa, so African Americans would invest their money, join the richest group of Africans on the planet, join
Right.
in sustainable development. But not only that, they have created conditions by which we're trying to work in a more impoverished state than ever before.
It's true. It is
Make
true.
me want to holler, throw up both my hands.
I agree. I think that there's a quote or a proverb that says the sea is forever trying to overtake the land, and the land is forever trying to overtake the sea. And so lutua continua, the struggle continues, and we can only hope but to continue planting seeds in fertile soil within the young minds of African children and African young people, which people like Arikana Chimbori Kwao, PLO Lumumba are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, all we can do right now is to continue just being that voice and spreading that message, and hope that our listeners too take the mighty action step of being village journalists and village messengers for people in their own specific regions and communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. We're going to keep going. Just had to put up a link for a YouTube article. I put up a little bit. YouTube censored it out because I put the word killed in the title, and I needed to put that into oft or something, or lost.
Mhm.
Comment on a Rumble channel from Moja, who is Brother Dawoodi. Greetings to you, Brother Keedy, and LIB family, and to Brother Dwara. Listening from Rwanda.
Ashe.
Respect. And that is so, so beautiful. And I said, much respect to you. And he, Brother Dawoodi, has been a wonderful contributor to LIB Radio. I had planned on going to Ghana for a conference in early October, or actually late October, and then joining with him and leaving or going to the Okosambo region to see the land that he has over there,
Mhm.
then to travel to Rwanda with him, and to leave Rwanda and travel to Nairobi, Kenya. And I didn't have the money for that. I
Mm.
tried a GoFundMe. One person contributed $35. And
Mm.
that was my sister for Africa One. It's not like it was wasted because we do send remittances to Africa all the time.
Mhm.
And so we're sending remittances. Uh, I don't want to, people, my life is so complicated. I was supposed to be on a conference last Thursday morning in Ghana. They called, they did not have the scheduled time in advance. And so they called up me at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was supposed to join this conference.
Mm.
And I sat on the Zoom hold for over an hour, and they couldn't get the Zoom to work over there in Ghana, so the conference was canceled.
Mm.
So
Mm.
there are strategic problems with our building in Africa. The unreliability of internet over there is still a very persistent problem, and it's one that African Americans, Afri-Amers, we could send our technicians over with sufficient money and not
Mhm.
only make sure that their internet is working properly, but in essence, we could become dominant players in the marketplace of digital services across the African continent. I don't cuss, but why won't African Americans try?
Well, that is because, Baba, that there has been such a, I'll say, forced disconnection culturally.
Mm-hmm.
So much effort is put into divorcing us from our continental family. And part of that is just, as we talk about often on the mastermind, the sheer distraction and consumerism and consumptionism and uh, distraction. It is keeping us from knowing our true selves in such a way that we would even have the impetus, let alone the effort, to rebuild bridges back home.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
Yeah.
I contend it will be a small collective of us that repatriate, that go back, that move back, that visit back, that go on vacation or have a pilgrimage back, um, and perhaps for those of us that do, we should flourish and make as many children as possible, so that will become our future. And that's in line with what's the current reality already on the African continent. And I had an article, again, I don't have that in front of me, but a huge percentage of the world's population is now both Generation Z and Generation Alpha.
Mm-hmm. And they are making they're making themselves known. They are changing things,
Hmm.
but most of the influence that we can see very deliberate has been taking place in African countries where the Gen Z and younger are the majority of many of these African nations because they are still so young. Meanwhile, this dialogue about depopulation, anti-population, anti-fertility
Right.
is dominating. It is said that as of within the next month, and I'm going to confirm that right now, and I'm going to go to a website called World O Meter Population. And are you familiar with World O Meter?
Yes, yes, I am. Baba Junius put me onto that.
Yeah, I'm going to go to World O Meter Population right now, and I'm going to see if it's true that it says, and this is real time statistics on global population, that it is now stopped growing. Now, I'm looking at it right now, retrieving data on global population. It is still growing, but that is getting very, very close to not growing. But if we break down this population into different regions of the world, we can see that by region and countries, the U.S. has a large population, and U.S. largely their population growth currently is being driven by Hispanic women. No other ethnic group in America has a positive population growth rate. But China, I believe, has begun shrinking, and a number of other countries, Japan is shrinking at the fastest rate possible. Now I'm looking at China. It's at 1.414 billion, 998,162. And the time I've been looking at it, it has not, just dropped to 161. So China is officially shrinking right now.
Mm.
But if we go to Africa, the world, and go to Africa, Africa is not shrinking. I'm looking at the world. Let's look at as a whole. The population, get ready, get ready, get ready. Population of Africa as a whole is 1,561,888,445, 446, 447, 448, 49, 50, 51, 52. Africa is growing more rapidly than any other part of the planet. What are we going to do with that?
Yeah, because we know what the adversary is trying to do about that. So
That's
what are we
right.
going to do about it? You're absolutely right.
It's the biggest advantage to everything. It's all about demographics. Demographics leads GDP.
Right.
It's 87, 88, 89, 90. This continues to grow. So I made myself known. Let me put this up in the link so anybody else can have access to this resource. I use it all the time.
Reminds
And
me of
population. Mm-hmm.
reminds me of the Public Enemy song "Fear of a Black Planet."
That's right. That's exactly what it should remind us of.
And
I suspect our team is also fearing controlling a black planet because we got to take responsibility now.
that's true. That's true. It's responsibility and accountability. And but to your point about demographics, Baba, that is the antidote to fade to black is demographics.
That's right. Will Africans in America have that advantage, or do they sacrifice at the altar of abortion their chances for a future?
Unfortunately, it seems that might be true. And so unless there is a major reversal in our lifestyles, which includes not giving in to the horrors of abortion, but also with stemming off iatrogenics and completely revamping our whole notion of what it means to be healthy.
Yeah, that's serious. To the best of our abilities, we're going to continue to do the best we can. Couple more stories that I had pulled up. Sudan, the biggest human rights, biggest human catastrophe on the planet. Civilians flee Sudan's RSF takeover as horrific killings spread. This from allafrica.com. I'll put the link up. The Human Rights Office received multiple alarming reports from Sudan that the Rapid Support Forces are carrying out atrocities, including summary executions in El Fasher. The head of the Sudan Armed Forces, SAF, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah el-Burhan, confirmed in a TV address that his forces had withdrawn. The RSF previously announced capture of El Fasher, marking a major turning point in the country's proxy war fueled by outside arms suppliers, one of which is United Arab Emirates, which has been working closely with the United States in security policies in Northeast Africa. According to a dispatch by Radio de Banga, based on a statement by the El Fasher resistance committees, wounded and sick patients in the city's Saudi hospital have been massacred, as well as civilians at the university and the Interior Ministry. The World Health Organization is appalled and deeply shocked by reports from the tragic killing of more than 460 patients and companions at Saudi Maternity Hospital in El Fasher, Sudan, following recent attacks and the abduction of health workers. World Health Organization head Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said in the social media, and this is incredibly tragic. It's been going on too long. It has remained the greatest crisis on planet Earth in any one single country for two or three or more years. Yet they talk more about the Israeli genocide against the Palestinians. They talk more about the Russian massacre of Ukrainians and all of the above. We are not pressing the world to pay attention to Sudan.
It is a great, great, great tragedy that we and the world is not having more eyes on Sudan. It's very complex. I refer people to a book by M. Jalal Hashim called To Be or Not to Be, Sudan at Crossroads, a Pan-African Perspective. And then the subtitle is A Black African Nation Undone by the Ideology of Islamo-Arabism. And just quickly, I'll say by highlighting the detrimental complexities of manipulation, geopolitics, identity confusion, and cultural imperialism, Hashim has not only written an authoritative book about Sudan, but also presented a comprehensive case study that all of Africa must learn from. And so that is a very, very good book on some of the linguistic, cultural, political, economic, and social factors which explain the intricate roots and causes of conflicts which have ravished Sudan.
That sounds like a very good book. I highly recommend people do get the book. Can you one more time? Can you reference it?
Absolutely. It is To Be or Not to Be, Sudan at Crossroads. And that's by M. Jalal, Jalal Hashim, Hashim. M. Jalal Hashim, to be or not to be. I'll put the
Okay.
link up in the private chat.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Uh, we pray, we pray. We may not be able to do much, but we pray if there is a divine creator,
Hmm.
then we pray that she would intervene and protect the life that our divine mother, great mother goddess, has brought to Sudan. I said if there is a divine creator because this idea of a divine benevolent creator who knows all is erased by the slaughter against these innocent people, innocent children in Sudan. There can be, hey, my opinion,
Hmm.
there
Hmm.
can be no great divine benevolent creator with that going on. It doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense at all. I don't cuss, but it is a lie. It's a big doggone lie, especially the way it has been explained to us.
Hmm.
I grew up a Christian, so I understand what you're going through, but I do believe that most Christian brothers and sisters are lying to themselves.
Hmm.
Um, you better rescue me because I'm about to get deeper.
um, I think that we are rewarded when we dive away from the oppressive machines of dogmatic doctrine and Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and we delve into the deep spiritual science of our ancestral um, spiritual systems that do provide deeper, clear answers as to how this can happen, why this can happen, and what must be done. Most importantly, what must be done to both spiritually, physically, mentally, socially, culturally uh, stop and cease this madness. Part of I'm afraid part of our problem is that a great many of us have abandoned our ancestral cultural ways, and that has ushered in um, the beasts to have continued digging their claws into us because we have essentially abandoned our ancestors, especially as African Americans. We are wholesale abandoning our ancestors in their cultural ways.
I say, very well put, very well put. Looking in the YouTube chat, Sandra Muhammad is in the house. I don't believe in a quote ghost God. I am with you, my beloved. I do definitely agree with you. Couple more comments have come in on Rumble, and here real quickly. Um, Dwayne writes, too many black women are harlots and not concerned with making black families. Two, as Queen Mother Kasiva writes, shut up, Dwayne. That's not true. Black women want love and marriage like other women. They do not want to be used for sex with no prospects of marriage. Get it right with an exclamation point. Uh, I had a problem with Dwayne's statement, and I do appreciate that Queen Mother Kashiba commented. She wrote also, Dwayne, are you a married man? Are you a black man? To which Dwayne responds, please don't tell me shut up. You can disagree, but disrespect. And then she writes, take the Arabs and Europeans out of Africa for our development and regain our past lives. And it sounds like we will also regain our true nature, our true culture, if we can get those Arabs and Europeans out of Africa, including their ideologies. And the beef between Queen Mother Kashiba and Dwayne, I'll just let that ride. I think Dwayne made a statement that he maybe did regret had he said too many black women have taken on this foreign culture, too many black men have become derelict of duty and undisciplined and are being led around by their male members,
Mhm.
I don't think he would have drawn the criticism that he got. But his statement was real blunt and it was very accusatory. And I think we would all be best to back off from that accusatory bluntness and do the best we can to insert and raise a dialogue. Your comment.
Yeah, I don't want to be I don't want to be harsh on anyone, and so I'm going to say this as polite as possible. One of the things that I'm interested in, I'll keep it on myself. One of the things that I'm interested and have been working on for myself doing is restoring this Maatian notion of eloquence, which every African society talks about: politeness, respect, not jumping to conclusions, not generalizing, not making blanket statements. You can speak from a position of the wisdom of your own personal experience,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to get back to good and gentle character. We have
That's
to
right.
get back to grace and elegance and eloquence in such a way that we do not provoke um, further turmoil, and in turn create even more karmic debt for ourselves, because that might also be the spiritual reason that we are experiencing so much stuff, is that, if karma is real, if karmic debt is real, then oftentimes, in order to try to get out of the bad karma that one has created, even maybe spiritually from a past life, we end up doing more to create even more karmic debt, and that ends up just digging ourselves in a spiritual hole. So I'll just say in closing that I think that part of re-Africanization
Mm.
is about really living truly the humility, the eloquence, the good and gentle character of our people, because our ancestors understood that, like the Kemites said, a harsh word or an accusation or an assumption, it's like throwing a match in a haystack.
Mm. Yeah. Very well stated. And you could go on and go on and on. I can't wait until the book is finally out.
It's work. It's coming, Baba. It's
I
coming.
know it's coming. Now, also, I'll let you know in case you're interested.
Please.
This coming Saturday, the 8th of November, we are going to have the first preview of my next upcoming writer's course.
Mm,
The course is 90 days to write and publish your book. And I highly encourage you. I know you know a lot about, and you may already have read my book, 90 Days to Write and Publish Your Book. It's called From Pen to Power, something
correct.
like that.
Correct. Yep.
From Pen to Power, and 90 Days to Write and Publish Your Book. So we're going to have a preview of the upcoming class. The class is going to be 13 weeks. It's probably going to start right after Christmas.
Okay.
And so that will give us a 90-day window. I plan to publish 7 books during that same 90-day window
Mm.
after publishing 8 books the first time, 9 books the second time, and now I'm going to do 7 books this time.
Mm.
But I highly encourage you. I'm going to put up a link in
Yep.
the chat so people can check in on that. It's a free preview. We're going to do another preview 2 weeks later, and then that's going to set us up for the class.
Thank you,
Um,
Baba.
what do you think about that?
I love that idea, Baba. I think that the same is true, using kind of a crude example, the same is true with veganism or changing one's lifestyle. It's hard to do by yourself, but if you have a support group, if you have a wise elder instructor such as yourself, dear Baba, then it becomes easier. And that is the collective African way. This whole I'm gonna do it by myself, that is the way of our adversaries. That is the Uruguayan way. And so I love the notion of collectively empowering and supporting and encouraging each other with your divine and wise experiential guidance, Baba, leading the charge in getting these books from our minds into the physical space where we become not only automatic experts, as you've pointed out. When you write a book, you become an expert in a particular field, but also you get immortalized, just like the temple walls, which the thoughts of which our ancestors are chiseled 2 and 3 inches deep into granite and basalt. Such is the same when we write a book. It will outlast us, and it immortalizes us in such a way that we can teach from beyond the grave if someone reads our books after we transition to the ancestral realm.
I say, yo. So we're doing our best to do our role to get things turned around and changed. But we do need the masses of people to collaborate and cooperate. I am going to charge you to teach this book this book writing class. But when you join this class, I'm going to show you exactly step by step. And I'm going to guide you 2 times. We're going to have Zoom conferences every week. I'm going to guide you on getting your book completed page by page. I'm going to show you how to do everything to get that book done. And I'm going to do it myself probably 7 times while I'm just asking our listening audience to just do it once. You have one life to live.
I say.
Why not put at least something out there that's going to be bigger than you, that will last beyond you? I may be hit by a car again and and be gone
I hope
from
not,
this.
Baba.
I may. One never knows one's fate.
That's true.
And that car snuck up on me behind. I didn't have nothing to say about that. That car snuck up on me while I was opening the door of my minivan and hit me, a drunk driver. So that was a heart of irresponsibility. But the 60 books that I have published and the others that are in the pipeline will be a living legacy. So I will live way beyond my years. Now, I do see Dwayne is in the house. He's kind of clearing up this statement that he had. He writes, unfortunately, I know a lot of black women who have told me that they would rather have sexual relationships over marriage. And I'm married and black and from South Carolina. He says, I'm part of that hip hop generation that think differently. These discussions we have are foreign to them. And I do agree. And he said, I do see a comment from Osel Kamal. I think he's talking about you, but he could be talking about someone else. The speaker is right. We need to stop the generalizations. And so I think Dwayne has answered Queen Mother's questions to him. Are you black? Are you married? Yes, he said he's married. I'm black. I'm from South Carolina. So, Brother Dwayne, you are part of our family.
I say.
And within families, occasionally, one of us may say something a little bit quicker than what we had really thought about or whatever. But you remain part of this family along with Queen Mother Kashiba. And I think you are showing the kind of respect to this family and to the Queen Mother that she would demand of all of us. And so we are able to proceed forward. Thank you, Kamal, Oseo Kamal, for inserting your statement. We're going to begin to wrap it up shortly. I'm going to put my text number up in the chat so that anyone who wishes to get a part of the next publishing book round, join us. And I'll put that text up right now, and hopefully you will be as part of it also. You and I can talk because we have an ongoing engagement.
Absolutely.
Join us for the next book writing and publishing I said writing. We're not going to be writing, and publishing. So go ahead, take over. I'm sorry, I'm trying to write and talk at the same
No,
time.
no, that's fine. I can go over a couple of action steps that I have for today.
Oh, please
Um,
do.
One is for us to reclaim and rewrite the personal and collective narratives of our people. And so that includes challenging stereotypes and affirming our African identity, because there are still so many of us that, and again, I'm not generalizing, but in my personal experience, there are so many of us that are still unwilling to accept the reality of us as an African people. And I think, unfortunately, we spend a lot of time running away from that. So we need to challenge those personal and collective narratives about ourselves if we're going to survive Fade to Black, outside of demographics, of course. And then building independent cultural institutions like LIB Radio. That includes schools, media outlets, wellness centers, and of course, Kuji Chagalia villages, where we can learn such things as African spirituality, cosmology, language, philosophy, psychology, that is rooted in our indigenous ways, such that they can help us better survive the onslaught that we're facing and be able to tap into these ancestral solutions that we always say have been around for 10,000 years. We just need to start applying them.
That makes good sense. We're alive. We're active. We're engaged. We're intelligent people, contrary to what many people perceive. We are intelligent people.
I say.
It's just that we've been Stockholm syndromed,
Yeah.
and it's been deeply, deeply embedded in us. Those preachers that taught us that Christianity, and they never want to let go of us. They never want to let go of us. They have been letting go as we're ripping ourselves away. We become untenable for them. More and more people are turning away from spirituality, not spirituality, turning away from religious doctrine. And I personally welcome those people, but at the same time, to be out here stranded, alone, not in workable groups, because one thing Christians do is they do collaborate and cooperate and work with each other. No matter what the program is, they're working with each other collaborative. And we do want to emulate that. I wish Pan-Africanism were having the same reception that Pan-Hellenism, the Greek thing, as well as Pan-Christianity has been having on our people. But at the same time, if we can't have it our way, then what's the use of having it at all? If it doesn't serve the long-term self-interest of our needs, our wants, our visions, then what's the use of having anything at all?
I would say, Baba, that we must keep in mind that there are good brothers and good sisters out here that are
That's right.
doing the work. Part of the adversary's mission is to convince us that we are the only ones thinking this way, and that we are some sort of a non-consequential or an inconsequential minority. I disagree. We just have to seek out those that are like-minded and that are tired of just talking about it, but are ready to apply this wisdom, these practices. And so I think personally it starts on the local level, and you've got to either seek out a group that already exists or create your own. Oftentimes we must create that which we see a need for, and that
That's
takes
right.
courage. That takes courage. But if you're not going to do it, or I'm not going to do it, then who's going to do it? If we don't
Who's
shine
gonna
our
do it?
light, then how many people are going to pass by our place in darkness?
That is so true. I have one more story, that I want to put up. Amnesty urges probe into U.S. strike against Ethiopians. From allafrica.com. I'll put up the link. If you don't already have it, I'll put it up. Amnesty International has called for an investigation into the deadly U.S. strike on a migrant detention center in Yemen that killed and injured dozens of Ethiopians. The rights group said the strike carried out back on April 28th, 2025, against Houthi targets in Yemen amounted to, quote, an indiscriminate attack, unquote, that violated international humanitarian law. The harrowing testimonies from survivors paint a clear picture of a civilian building packed with detainees being bombed without distinction. Amnesty International's Deputy Regional Director for the Middle East and North Africa, Christine Beckerly said the attack was a, quote, lethal failure by the U.S. military to verify whether the object attacked was a military objective. Scores of African migrants were detained at the facility when the strike happened, killing more than 60. Survivors told Amnesty they were trapped inside the facility when the first blast hit a nearby building. As they tried to flee, guards reportedly fired warning shots to prevent them from escaping before a second airstrike. Who were the guards that were shooting at them to get them to stay in the building?
It's a very good point.
I guess that's why they're calling for an investigation.
There was another article that I had that reminded me of. I'm trying to find it here in the background, but it was like a botched covert U.S. Like a Navy SEAL type of operation that went awry. And I'm just kind of looking for this in the background. I may not find it, but I'll bring it up next week if that's the case.
Yeah, very serious. There's a lot of things going on in the world we need to be paying much closer attention to.
Of course.
Let's begin to wrap it up. I have enjoyed today's conversation.
Likewise, Baba. Thank you.
And we look forward to Baba Junior's being back with us next week. And I don't think he overslept 2 hours, so it must be something else other than just he didn't set his clock forward or backward an hour to deal with the daylight resetting times. Now, we set our clocks back an hour to go back to the time it should have been had we not interrupted the process by setting the clocks forward an hour. So when we set it back to what it should be, oh, it's confusing.
Well, Urugu.
Yeah, well, Urugu did manage to steal an extra hour of the daylight from us for the entire summer season since the daylight savings time began. And are they going to give us a return on that investment, or are they going to further put all of us, the working class, into the doo-doo hole? I don't think that's cussing. Of America's collapsing society.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, Baba. There is no vitamin D in that hole.
Woo, good God Almighty. We're going to do the best we can and go forward. Your final word for today. I know you always have some profound words for our listeners.
Asante Sana, Baba. I appreciate you. I will just say that we must practice intellectual marunage. And that's just a fancy way of saying that we must be critical thinkers. We must embrace self-education, reclaiming our ancestral knowledge and escaping these oppressive, stereotypical narratives about ourselves and our people. Ashe,
yo. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up today. I love you being in the house every week, Brother Dwara. You always bring so much wisdom to the program. and you always blow my mind. Some days I will hear you make some comments and listen. I say, they don't need me anymore. It's time to get ready to pass this baton on to the next generation, because this young brother, you are well prepared and trained, and I am proud that Baba Junius and I have contributed a significant part to your training. And what can I say? I don't want to gush over here. And so, on
I
that note,
appreciate
yeah,
love you, Baba. Thank you. Ashe.
awesome, awesome, awesome. We are out of here for today. You've been listening to your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIV Radio, LIVD, and livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have our own now. And we should be very proud of what we have, what we do with what we have, and who we do it with. On that note, I want to thank you all for everything you bring to your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIV Radio, LIV TV. We are livinginblack.com. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you.